Good morning. Welcome guys, welcome to this morning's Periscope. My name is Taryn Thompson, I'm your virtual health coach. And this morning in today's topic, we're going to be talking about meal frequency. Alright, so should you be snacking or should you be going longer in between your meals? If you are someone that wonders these things and you follow a lot of health blogs or you follow a lot of health material and you hear different schools of thought, I'll tell you that there are elements of truth to all of them. But what I want to do for you today is to put that into context and help you figure out which one is going to be the best for you. So if this is an area that you would like some clarity on, if you want to find out whether you should be eating frequently or whether you should be going longer in between your meals, then stick around, because in today's video I'm going to give you exactly the reasons why you should or shouldn't, depending on what is right for you. Alright, so let me introduce myself really quickly. My name is Taryn Thompson and I've been on my own personal health journey. I've lost 28 kilos, and so over the last 6 years I've really spent that time dedicated to helping people achieve their ideal body. Now I specialize in two areas, that's hormone health and health coaching. Okay, so this morning's topic, how frequently should you be eating, and should you go longer in between your meals? Should you snack? Should you not snack? How much snacking is too much snacking? Well, that differs from person to person, and there's going to be a few variables in that. Those variables are going to be your size, all right? So depending on your size is going to affect that. How you store your body fat, so whether you store it all over, whether you store it around your midsection, or whether you store it primarily in the lower half of your body and have developed quite a cellulite fat. That's going to determine how whether you should snack or how frequently you should be eating, how much lean muscle mass you carry, and how you exercise. All right, so those are really the variables. So I'm going to give you those variables today. But first of all, I want to just get clear on a couple of things. A couple of things about what's necessary in order for your body to actually fat burn. Now, one of those things is insulin. Insulin's a hormone that gets triggered when you eat, and it really is triggered when you eat anything, but it's about the excessiveness of insulin, so how much is being triggered, and there are some things that will cause more insulin to be triggered than others, and primarily it's when you're eating carbohydrates, and also if you are over consuming the amount of protein. So what is recommended is that between main meals there is about 5 hours. Okay, so there needs to be enough time in between your main meals for insulin to clear from the blood. All right, it's important to understand that when there's insulin in your bloodstream, fat cannot burn. All right, fat won't burn in the presence of insulin, and so you've got to allow insulin to be cleared from the blood in order for your body to choose to have the option to even consider fat burning. Okay, so that's the first thing, is that insulin must be allowed to clear from the blood, and so it's pretty standard that you got to allow about 5 hours in between those main meals. The second thing, right, that you got to consider is that if your blood sugars are dropping, all right, and that's going to differ from person to person, but if your blood sugar levels drop too quickly because you are going too long in between meals, then you'll start to produce a hormone called cortisol, which is a stress hormone, and it's important to understand that stress hormones are counteractive, all right, to fat-burning hormones. So even if insulin has cleared out of the blood, if you are producing too much stress hormone, then it doesn't really matter that insulin is out of the blood, because too much cortisol and stress hormone opposes those fat-burning hormones. So those are really the two criteria, and depending on how you store your body fat, and depending on how you exercise and your lifestyle is going to determine a couple of those variables. So I will go into that with you. Now, our approach when I'm working with my clients, or when I'm taking them through our course, our 12-week course, our approach really is based on habit and hormone health. Okay, so it is a habit-based approach, and it is based on your hormones. So I'm always going to favor habits in regards to those two things, provided that it fits within whatever is going on with your hormones. All right, so that is something that I wanted to make very clear about our approach. Now, let me give you a couple of ideas based on a couple of ideas about what you can consider about whether you should snack or whether you should be going longer between your meals based on how you are storing your body fat. Okay, so if you are storing your body fat around your midsection, all right, so if predominantly it is around the central part of your body, then you actually are recommended to snack. Okay, so you want to keep 5 hours between your main meals, but you want your snacks to be smaller versions of a main meal. Okay, and what I mean by that is that primarily you are wanting there to be protein in your snacks. That's really the main thing. And the reason why is because if you store fat around your midsection, your body actually has a problem with regulating blood sugars. Okay, your body has a problem with the amount. Well, obviously your body has a problem with the amount of stress that's going down, but naturally you will produce higher amounts of cortisol than, say, someone who is storing body fat in a different area of their body. And so because of that, you can be quite prone to your body naturally starting to break muscle down in order to try and keep blood sugar levels stable. And so what's recommended is that you take your main meal and perhaps half it, and then have the other half 2.5 to 3, maximum 3.5 hours later, maximum of 3.5 hours later, okay? And then have your lunch, and then when you have your lunch, always make sure that there's protein in there. And then what you want to do is maybe prepare a lunch and a half, okay? And so then for your afternoon snack, you're having your leftovers. All right, so it's a small meal. Either that, or you can have smaller main meals, but you can prepare snacks that have got some protein in it. Okay, so making sure that you have some nuts with a bit of fruit, or have some unsweetened yogurt with a bit of fruit or a bit of nuts. All right, making sure maybe you have a small, like maybe half of a small tin of tuna, and have that on a couple of corn thin crackers. All right, so what you want to be doing is looking for ways that you can get in small meals, but having a couple of snacks, one mid-morning, one mid-afternoon, that have got protein in it. I also recommend for you that in the afternoon that you have a piece of fruit, okay? Reason why is because fruit is just a bit of a natural sugar pick-me-up to help keep your blood sugars from dropping, because in the afternoon I bet you notice that your blood sugars do take a bit of a dive and you get quite tired. Okay, so that's what I recommend for if you store fat around your midsection. Now, if you store body fat around the lower half of your body, okay, so you don't generally have a problem with it, like you're a little leaner in your upper body, but you have a problem with fat around the buttocks, the hips, the thighs, and perhaps it's even starting to turn into a cellulite fat. All right, now my recommendation for you is you can actually go either way. You can have 3 main meals a day, all right, with one snack. You can actually go longer in between your main meals. You can actually go, say for example, breakfast and then not eat again until lunchtime and have 5 hours in between. But you want to make sure that depending on what time that you have dinner, that you're not going more than that 5 hours. Now, because I am all about a habit-based approach, I really want you to consider starting off with snacking. Okay, at least starting off with snacking in order to make sure that you are not succumbing to cravings. Reason why is because if you're storing fat in the lower half of your body, then you will actually have a problem with cravings. All right, and this is just due to the amount of estrogen that is being produced, or that is not being able to be excreted by the body, and because of that, cravings will be an issue for you. Now, an easier way to combat cravings is to snack. Okay, so I would actually recommend that to begin with, that you have small main meals and that you make sure that you at least have a snack in the afternoon, and perhaps even a piece of fruit as you are getting closer to dinner time, especially if there are a lot of hours in between there. This will also significantly help the liver to be able to do its job as it relates to estrogen. All right. Now, if you store body fat overall, okay, so you don't really have any particular area that you store your fat, it's just really everywhere. It's in the back, it's in your arms, it's in the neck, in your face, in your midsection, and you got cellulite, and you don't really store it in any one place, then you actually have a problem with your thyroid. Okay, now I'm not saying that your thyroid is underactive, right? That's a more acute level of thyroid issue. But what I am saying is that you have a problem with your metabolism, all right? And the thyroid is the gland that's responsible for the metabolism. And so when this happens, it actually takes longer for your body to clear insulin from the blood. It takes a little longer. And so because of that, you must make sure that you allow the time in between your main meals in order to let that insulin clear, because your metabolism is slower. So I actually recommend for you that initially you start with snacking for the same reasons. If you're just starting on your health journey, I recommend that initially you start with snacking purely because making the switch from eating to however you've been eating with probably more refined foods to eating in a more whole foods way, at the beginning your body always freaks out a little. It goes through a little bit of stress just with the dietary change, and so to help combat that, snacking frequently helps to take your mind off of the situation until your blood sugars start to stabilize. But then you actually need to, so perhaps in the second week or perhaps after 10 days, you actually need to make a focus. You actually need to start journaling the times that you eat and make sure that there are about 5 hours in between your main meals. Okay, and if you do want to continue with the snacking because you're finding that it actually does really help, then you must make sure that the meals are small. Okay, you must make sure that the meals are actually small, and that when you are having a snack, that the snacks are small. All right, you want to make sure that you take your measurements at the beginning of the week. Keep a food journal, actually write down how much that you are having based on palm sizes and cup sizes. Track that. Take a measurement at the beginning of the following week to see what your result was. If you got a result, good. All right. If you got a result, that means that you've got it right with the portion size. If you've got some result but you're not completely happy, so it wasn't as much as what you were expected, and just to let you know, you're looking for about 900 grams, which is the maximum amount of fat your body will let go of. Okay, so you're looking for between 500 and 900 grams per week. If you're getting around the 100 or 200 gram per week, then you've got to change something up. Okay, you've got to change something up. Perhaps your snacks are too large. Perhaps you're not going long enough in between your main meals. Perhaps your main meals are too large. Remember, your metabolism is slow, and so you've got to make sure the meals are small enough. All right, it's important that you do that to allow insulin to clear from the blood, and also it gives your liver an opportunity to start producing the necessary fat burning hormones, which will only happen when insulin is clear from the blood. Okay, now just a note, just a wee disclaimer. Depending on how much lean mass you have and depending on how much exercise you have also is going to be a variable, because if you exercise hard and you have quite a lot of lean mass, then your body will be more efficient at clearing insulin from the blood. Okay, so perhaps the amount of time is too long. Okay, so you also want to track that. And so the way I recommend you track it is just by keeping a food journal. Okay, so just so that you know, if you are new to Periscope, these videos, they are able to be watched on replay. Okay, they're able to be watched on replay. So once the recording has finished, you hold your finger down on the screen and just move the thing across, and it'll allow you to fast forward and rewind and go to the appropriate recommendation that I've given. So I really hope that that's been of value to you today. I really hope that that has given you a good starting point, or if you have already started on your journey, then that's given you something to consider. look, if you like that, if you like this kind of information and you get real value from it, then I want you to consider the group coaching program that I will be starting in September. All right, so just look out for details about that. In September, I will be taking a group through my 12-week course where I go through and educate you on how to get your hormones in balance and get fantastic results with your body, not only dropping body fat, but also significantly improving the way that you feel and do life. Okay, so I highly recommend that you look out for details on that. If you feel that this information has been real beneficial, then Periscope allows you to share this content, and the way that you share is by swiping up or swiping to the right of your screen. Okay, so when you swipe up or swipe to the right, when you do that, it gives you the option to either share to your other Periscope followers or to share using Facebook. It will give you that option when you get there. If you see some hearts pop up, that's you showing your appreciation for the content. So cheers for the hearts this morning, guys. And you do that by tapping on the screen. All right, so that's it. That's it for this morning. I really hope that you enjoyed that. That's it for this week. All right, so I'll see you next week, Monday morning, 8 a.m. New Zealand time. Have a fantastic weekend. Keep it clean, and I'll see you next week.